So in the opening chapter now of Mises, I think he makes a fundamental point, and I don't understand why people dispute this. They seem to get this wrong. There's this idea that, before we get into the quote, there's this idea that we should more greatly fear corporations, which is typically a left-wing idea, a left-wing fear. Think of the Occupy Wall Street. It was all about anti-corporation. But the government is our savior. There's this strange idea that people at Google could be a greater threat to us than people in our government. Like, it's a very odd thing. But a lot of people on the left have this idea, and Mises addresses this quite quickly, and I think sets the stage fast about what's really going on with business and people, and with government and people. So he says that, this is on the first page, on the market of a capitalistic society, the common man is the sovereign consumer whose buying or abstention from buying ultimately determines what should be produced and in what quantity and quality. And then on the next page, he says, big business always serves, directly or indirectly, the masses. And then just further down, the profit system makes those men prosper who have succeeded in filling the wants of the people in the best possible and cheapest way. Wealth can be acquired only by serving the consumers. Okay, so let's talk about that. So I think that lays out quite nicely what's going on. Business is voluntary. If you do not want to buy products at Walmart, you can not go there. No one's forcing you to go there. You can, if they do something bad to you, you can boycott them. Social media today is very powerful, and it's a tool often used by individuals and always used by groups. But even individuals now, you don't have to be part of a group anymore to make a difference. Now you can just be an individual, and you can make a blog post, or you can take a video camera in somewhere and you can record something, and that can go viral. The individual now has the power to make change, or to call into question something, or to reveal some kind of corruption going on. But again, the business is not, you don't have to engage with them. There's a freedom of association with business. You can always just go to a competitor. But in the government, there's no competitor. Like, notice how the people, when you go into McDonald's, they tend to be fairly friendly. But if you go into a DMV, you go into an MTO office, like in Canada, or a DMV, I think they're called in the States, those are the most rude people in the world. Why? Because you have nowhere else to go. If you want a license plate sticker or whatever you need for your car, you have nowhere else to go. You can't boycott them. You can't go on social media and complain, or at least you can, I guess, but it won't do anything. There's no competition. So why do people have this irrational fear of a construct like a corporation that they can choose not to deal with, but they seem to praise a construct like the government that they cannot choose to not deal with? I think it's a very strange idea. It's kind of like the George Orwell versus Huxley. George Orwell's 1984 was a dystopia about state takeover, that we'd all be in cages ruled by the government. But Huxley wrote a similar dystopia about essentially the rule of corporations, although I think it's still basically state. But Huxley's point was more about the rule of pleasure, and Orwell was more about the rule of state, the rule of power and authority. But still, business has to serve you or they go bankrupt. With enough bad press, a business can flop and be finished. If you don't make a good product, like BlackBerry, you don't make a good product, you tank. So as he says on page 2, the profit system makes those men prosper who have succeeded in filling the wants of the people. Just like when you go to work, if you fill the needs of your employer, you stay employed. In business, if you fill the needs of your customers, you stay alive. But again, it's voluntary. You can choose to go to a competitor. So I don't understand the irrational fear. But that is the mechanism of business. You must please. You must find your customer. They even have concepts like customer acquisition costs. So how much money it costs for them to get new customers through advertising or whatever it might be. And then can you please those customers? How often those customers return sales and things like that. They're all about people. Wouldn't it be wonderful if our governments were just as interested in pleasing their customers, which is supposed to be the entire nation of people? Can you imagine a business that's trying to cater to an entire nation of people? Like, that doesn't even happen. But a government should be even more trying to please its citizens than a PR department of Walmart, but they're not even close.